welcome to this week's Gaming Math, where Nintendo is dominating. How, you say? What? Nintendo, the company that people were saying was going to go third party, seems to be cleaning up in almost all the categories, which is what we will discuss today. For those of you who don't know what Gaming Math is, this is a brand new show that I've created where we're going to go over the hardcore facts. It's all about the money for these companies, and so we're going to take an in-depth look at how these systems and software titles are doing. For this episode, it's very special because we're going to go over the NPD sales for the previous month of July, for the month of July for North America. We're also going to go over the Media Create sales numbers, which are just in Japan only, and we're also going to talk about Nintendo's Q1 2018 financial report. So let's get started with probably the biggest shock of the NPD sales chart, which only doesn't give hardcore numbers out, but it gives a list of the titles in top 10 order. And number one on the NPD sales software list is Mario Tennis Aces. What? Unbelievably, the NPD and Media Create do not track digital sales, which is something that Nintendo really does strive on as their digital sales going forward. And so to see it as a physical only number one is really, really surprising, especially compared to the rest of the list, as July was a very short month. So we got numbers for June. So Mario Tennis Aces really pulled it out here, which is very, very surprising. And it shows this is the number one best-selling game for June. So it's super, super exciting to see this. And not only that, it's the best-selling Mario Tennis game in the franchise, which is super awesome to see. That's why Nintendo is continuing to support this with new characters in their online monthly tournaments, which I suggest you partake. To me, it is one of the best Mario Tennis games. Probably, I would say it's probably the best. I really do. The single player we can have issues with, but overall, this is a very fun party game to get a couple friends over and just play some good tennis matches. And it's not like Wii Sports where you just wave a Wii remote around, and it really takes some skill to play. So, Mario Tennis Aces was the big shock of the NPD chart, but let's look at the rest of the NPD chart. God of War 2018 came at number 2, with Grand Theft Auto 5 still reigning in the top 10 at number 3. That game is never going to go anywhere, and if it comes to the Switch, which are rumors it's going to, it will be there even longer. The Crew 2 also came in at number 4. Far Cry 5, the best-selling game of the year, is still at number 5. Far Cry 5 at 5. Now Mario Kart 8 is sitting well at number 6. Lego Incredibles is at number 7. FIFA 18 at number 8. And Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy at 9. And Detroit Become Human is at number 10. Now, what's that saying? Well, a game had to be kicked out of this top 10 from last month, which was Super Mario Odyssey, which is really sad to say because it's friendly fire from Nintendo. But Nintendo is owning the software lineup here for the month of June, which is super exciting. And also, they also did very well in the console hardware. Now, what? Why it's true that the PS4 is still the number one current console sold in the month of June, didn't sell the most consoles overall. In fact, that goes to the Nintendo Entertainment Classic Edition. This blows my mind. It outsold the PlayStation 4, the Nintendo Switch, and the Xbox, 3DS, and all of its other current gen systems. The Nintendo Entertainment Classic Edition sold the most, which is mind-boggling to say the least, and Nintendo has a strategy to keep doing this, which is why we probably will not see a old-style virtual console come to the Switch anytime soon. Which, I don't blame Nintendo. It's all about the money, and Nintendo is swimming in money right now. Yes, there were some stock scares, but I think after the financial report and these numbers coming out for NPD, Nintendo's going to be very well going to the fall, and I expect a direct anytime soon to reaffirm that. So that was it for the NPD sales. They don't give much numbers, unfortunately, but that was the top 10 for the software sales. And overall, the gaming market is... Oops, sorry, I hit my microphone there. Overall, the gaming market is trending upwards, with all the console makers saying their success, with PlayStation doing well. was up 50% for the Switch, and Xbox doubled their last year's June's projections, which is awesome, which is really good. We're seeing a very healthy market when we get into the next generation of consoles, the PS5 or whatever the Xbox is going to be. So let's move on from the NPD sales to go to the Media Create sales. Now, the reason I like the Media Create sales is because they give hardcore numbers of how the games debut and their current sold date. And this is Japan only, so this doesn't count for the rest of the world. This is for Japan only. And this is why I'm saying Nintendo is really dominating the market there. Just look at the list of the top 10 games. We have Mega Man X Legacy Collections 1 and 2, which debuted finally by Capcom, and it was only on the PS4. PS4 got the number 1 spot with 29,270, which is really good for PS4 and good for Mega Man. And as you see, Nintendo Switch has a couple, I cannot pronounce that, so I'm not trying. If you look at Splatoon 2, the reason I like this is because we can see how the games really do sell in the current country. Almost 2.5 million for Splatoon 2, which is crazy to think about. And then as you see, Mario Tennis Ace is there at number 4. And then Mega Man X Legacy Collections 1 and 2 at number 5 for the Nintendo Switch. And Minecraft also doing well for the Switch, which is why we got those Better Together commercials where Nintendo and Xbox are kind of teaming up, which I think is really cool. Another big game, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, is still on the top 10, almost at 1.7 million, which is really, and that game's not going to go anywhere. We'll talk about later how it will become the number 1 Switch game on the Switch, I think, very quickly. We're also going to talk about Octopath Traveler. They're still having some physical copy shortages. Again, this is not tracked digital sales, so we really don't know, honestly, how this game really did. From what I hear, it has done very, very well. So I would expect a sequel in the coming years. It's a hit. It's at home for the Switch. So I'm very happy with Square Enix. I think Square Enix is happy with Octopath Traveler. People are loving the game. I'm currently playing Octopath Traveler myself. So tune in for my live streams about Octopath Traveler. Captain Toad Treasure Tractor is at number 9. For a Wii U re-release, it did very well, which is very good to hear, very good to see. And then number 10 was a Vita game, which was interesting. So if you look at that list, 8 out of 10 slots are owned by Nintendo Switch, which shows that Nintendo has a firm grasp on the Japan market, which is not surprising. Nintendo really has always done well in Japan, and it's funny, I was reading somewhere that back in 2012 the gaming market, the console market, was dying. Not quite. Let's look at the hardware sales for last week. As you can see, Nintendo Switch is almost selling 50,000 units a week, which is crazy. That thing is selling like hotcakes in Japan, even though it may not be the number 1 in North America, and Japan is selling like hotcakes. And coming in at number 2 is PS4 18.645, which is 18,000 it sold. That includes PS4 Pro, the 3DS, and all of its family of systems is at 8.714. And then the PS Vita is still selling well, even though you cannot find one here in the United States. It somehow still sells in Japan, which is why I think it's still, the Switch has done so well, is because Japan is going from a console generation to a mobile platforms, and as that's be seen because Xbox One and all of its family of systems is not doing very well, which is very, very sad. Let's look at the numbers to date, because I think this is going to be interesting, because as we talk about Nintendo's financial report, they gave out their lifetime sales, which is really, really good. And Nintendo's closing in on the 5 million just for Japan, which is very, very surprising. PlayStation 4 is also looking at 7 million right now. I expect within the next year, or maybe even after the holidays, Nintendo Switch will pass the PlayStation 4. And you wonder why they still make 3DS games for that console. Look how many have sold in Japan alone. 25 million, almost 25 million. Not 20, almost 25. I guess it's still like 24. But 24 million consoles of the 3DS just in Japan alone, which is crazy to think about. And even the Vita is almost at 6 million. Of course, Xbox One is still struggling to get to 100,000, which is, I mean, I think that Xbox has given up this generation. I think they're looking towards the next generation, which is, I think, both a blessing and maybe a curse for PlayStation, because I think Xbox will bring it, especially after E3, when Xbox walked out as the best conference of the year. So let's talk about Nintendo's financial report. So every quarter, Nintendo and PlayStation give out some information, some numbers on how their systems do. Xbox does not. They keep that very internally. PlayStation gave some rough numbers. It's doing very well. I'm not going to go into that. I always find Nintendo's numbers they give out much more interesting, so I'm going to talk about Nintendo. Nintendo Switch hardware has sold 19.67 million units worldwide. They're fast approaching that 20 million mark, which is very good for the health system. As you can see, the Wii U, its predecessor, barely made 13.5 million, which is really, really sad for that system. It died a horrible, horrible death. But the Switch is on a lively market and is continuing to grow. Now, their goal is to make 20 million more units by the next fiscal year. I think at the beginning of that was like 15 million units when they said that. So it's going to be about 33 to 40 million they want to get at, roughly. They come short. They probably won't care that much. But they haven't changed that avenue yet. So that's pretty cool to look at. So I think they can reach it with Pokemon on the horizon, with Smash Bros. On the horizon. It's really, really coming soon. So. And as for the software sales for the Switch, as you can see, 86.93 million units have been sold, which is very, very cool indeed. And again, the reason why they still make games for the Nintendo 3DS, look how many people own the console. 72.89 million units have been sold, and the software just sell on that console. That's the struggle that Nintendo is facing. And what's also good to the point is, Nintendo has a couple new members to the $1 Million Club for the Nintendo Switch. Yes, they do. Well, let's look at the top 10 Nintendo Switch games, with its newest entry, Mario Tennis Aces. What? And it has come to 1.38 million units. It is the 10th best-selling game on the Switch, which is very, very good to see. For such a new game, it's very, very awesome to see. And as we can see with the other top titles, as Mario still holds the number one spot at 11.17 million units, I expect Mario Kart 8 Deluxe to take it in the next quarter. I can't see Mario Odyssey beating it after the holidays. Nope. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is going crazy, and there's rumors going around that some DLC is coming to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which might even entice it more for people who don't have it already. Breath of the Wild is at number 3 with 9.32 million, the best-selling Legend of Zelda game on ever in the franchise, and Mario as well as best for its franchise. Splatoon 2 at 6.76 million units, one of the newest IPs for Nintendo, is in the top 10 and the 4th spot, which is awesome. Congratulations, Splatoon 2. We're so happy that you're here with us, and that's why they're in Smash Brothers. Probably the most bizarre entry in the system's lineup, which I can't believe is actually in. There's definitely a discrepancy between the top 4 and the rest of the list, so just take that into account. 1-2 Switch at 2.45 million, which is interesting because that game is horrible. Don't buy it. If you're going to buy it, buy something else with it. Just trust me on that. It's not a good game, but I think it really helped that it was just a launch title, and that's how it got as many as it did. ARMS was a brand new IP for the Switch. It's a fighting game, and it has done very well. It has finally crossed the 2 million mark, so this game is no longer a flop. So I would expect a sequel in the coming years for ARMS coming soon, maybe with a more diverse roster, and maybe a couple story modes, maybe like a Mortal Kombat system. That'd be nice. Kirby is also one of the best-selling in its franchise, currently sitting at 1.89 million units, which is very, very good for Kirby. And then we got Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which is a great game. If you haven't played it, play it, please. It's a great, great game. I'm at 1.42 million, which is really, really better than what its predecessor was, including X, so that's very good. Best in its franchise. And then Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, which is a re-release from the Wii U, which is at 1.43 million. And again, Mario Tennis Aces at 1.38 million units. So, what does this list tell me? Well, what it tells me is that Nintendo's strategy of re-releasing their games from the Wii U to the Switch has been a success. 2 out of the 10 are re-releases from the Wii U. Donkey Kong Country and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Great idea. It helps them give some time for them while they develop some new games. Not only that, Mario Tennis Aces is selling quite rapidly, which is very surprising. Not only did it top the NPD charts for North America, it's now in their top 10 list for their overall system, which is crazy to think about because there's so many games on the Switch now. And as for the console, it's really... So my overall thought is Nintendo is dominating. It's plain and simple. Nintendo is dominating the console market. Yes, it is not the highest selling console right now, but if Nintendo keeps their lineup correct, which needs to be with Pokemon and Smash comes out this year. We also got a Mario Party game coming out in October. It's going to be very, very packed for Nintendo this fall. So I expect that to go up, but we have plenty of more games coming out. It's going to be a very, very crowded month in September, October, November, and December. You got Spider-Man, you got Tomb Raider, you got Super Mario Party, you got blanking, Red Dead Redemption 2, you got so many games, Pokemon, Super Smash Brothers. So it's going to be a very crowded area, and so I'm super excited to see where this leads, and we can check back every Saturday to see it. But as always, guys, that's this week's Gaming Math. I hope you enjoyed it. And what did you guys think about the overall layout of the land? What game were you playing this weekend? Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Catch you later, guys. Bye.